Good evening, my fellow peoples. Here we are, another segment in the Counselor's Corner. And tonight's title of the show is going to be Scenario 3 from my book, Cocktail Conversations by the Controversial Counselor, Is White Always Right? So we're going to take a look at that scenario. So how everybody doing this hot, sticky, muggy Sunday night? Man, it's been good. You know, I as a sports fan, I've been was looking forward to Free Agent Sunday, for the last month or so. Ebony Swanson, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So, everybody wanted to know where KD was going to go, Kyrie, Kawhi. So it's one of the biggest free agent classes in years. Good evening, Ebony. So KD and Kyrie decide to join forces in Brooklyn, which that's fine, but I think it annoys me. That's one of my counselor's concerns. Rachel Ewing, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. One of my concerns is if you're going to go to New York, wouldn't it be better to handle your business with the Knicks? Granted, KD is out all of next year. Probably won't be back until October of 2020. But imagine him coming back and essentially them two win a championship with the New York Knicks, the Mecca of basketball. Now that's groundbreaking. That means you're the king of basketball. To win it in the biggest stage, biggest platform. So I'm kind of disappointed that they went to Brooklyn. I would have, if you're gonna go to New York, do it with the Knicks. But hey, they getting paid anyway. So enough of that on the free agency basketball tip. That was just one of my concerns. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Nika. Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So tonight's topic, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, of course. Right now this summer, I just felt like I would do the scenarios from my book, starting from 1 to however many I get through. And the next one is white always right. Now I've done this scenario on other platforms, Cocktail Conversations. I did it years ago. I talked about interracial relationships on my show, Thunderous Altercations, but you want to stay tuned because that should be starting up season 2 in September. If you haven't seen season 1, then you need to check it out. You need to go on to WBPmedianetworks.com. You can go on demand and you can see all 6 of our shows with my co-host, Kelly Renee. So make sure you stay in tune with that. Also, join my Thunderous Altercation page along with Kelly. Our page, Thunderous Altercations, and the Counselor's Corner. All of the stuff you'll be updated on my progress. Hey, Kim Anderson, how you doing? Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So I'm going to start off with the introduction is sort of similar to the scenario, but I'm gonna start off with the introduction. So in the introduction, a black guy, Dion, started dating Beth, his co-worker, who happened to be engaged to be married. Dion did not seem to care because Beth gave him confidence he never had before. The other issue to this relationship, Beth had a habit of putting down Dion's race. What's your thoughts about Dion and Beth? How do you think the relationship between Dion and Beth ended? Why in 2019 does interracial relationships still bother you? So make sure you call in at 605-313-5375, access code 669542. And I'm not typing it there because you can go right on top, stroll up, and you'll see it in the description, the access code. So I know people always say, oh, what's the code? What's the call-in number? Is right there for you. All right. Now I'm going to read the whole scenario. Then we're going to start talking about this issue. All right. And oh, by the way, I do not own the rights to this background music. I do not own the rights at all. So don't think I'm trying to steal it or claim anybody else's fame. Again, I do not own the rights to this music. Just wanted to get that out there as a disclaimer. Big Herb, what's going on? The Big Bad Wolf, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So here we go with the scenario. Dion always liked his black sisters and never felt comfortable talking to white girls until he laid his eyes on Beth. Beth had recently started at Dion's job at the Department of Motor Vehicles, and boy, was she stacked. Every time she walked by Dion, he had thoughts of, boy, the things I would do to her. As time went on, Beth would always come to Dion's area to talk smack, as if she knew she had a hold on him. One evening, all the colleagues decided to go to happy hour, and Dion was invited. Reading straight from the book, Cocktail Conversations, the original edition. Make sure you get that revised edition. Dion would decline because he was antisocial. Beth told the co-workers that she could convince him to come, and she did just that while out. Dion and Beth remained close, drinking and laughing throughout the evening. Everyone was shocked to see Dion so content. At the end of the night, once everyone cleared the parking lot, Dion and Beth went at it like nothing else mattered to them. They acted as if they were not making out in the parking lot. When they returned back to work, Dion seemed more social. He started dressing differently, and Beth had a lot of influence on him. She made comments such as, "You are really white, trapped inside a black man's body. And if you are to get any place in life, you need to upgrade your standards and cut those ghetto black chicks out. They don't deserve you." Wow. Wow. He should have cussed her ass out on that one. Dion took her advice to focus strictly on Beth. There was one problem with this situation. Beth was engaged to be married to a white man. What do you think of the new and improved Dion? So what do you think became of Dion and Beth? So that was that scenario. And as a lot of people, when they talk about interracial relationships, a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't matter to them. People, they don't see color as long as they're happy and things of that nature. But we know, even in 2019, people are still irritated by the notion of seeing this. Now, you'll have a lot of black guys, they'll say that it's the black women. Like, they don't care. It's no concern of theirs to see a white man with a black woman. It's the black women who got all the gripes and the issues about that. But if they did what they needed to do, then maybe they wouldn't go that route. And that always stirs up a lot of commotion. So tonight I'm going to focus on some of the perspectives and some of the things that were said. Even as I go through and look at these particular perspectives from the book, I'm going to start off with, a couple of them. Someone said, wow, if he had any respect for himself and his mother, he would have put little Miss Racist, white gold-digging, adulterous whore in her place. After what she said to him, there should have been no further communication except to let her know about her inappropriate comments. Shaking my head. Come on now, does she know if they have kids that they would be black? Shaking my head. Ignorance is frustrating. So that was one perspective. Now here's someone else. They said, I agree. Her comments were definitely inappropriate. What I found upsetting was the fact that Dion was so blind to Beth's comments. He had one thing on his mind. Felicia Chosen Sullivan, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. Then in the book, I had asked, what do you think about the comments that the black women don't deserve him? And do you think some black men feel like that? So remember, the stage is set for y'all to call in, type in your comments, and let's have an open discussion, because this is what it's about. There's no right or wrong answers on this platform. You can get chewed out for your responses, but that's just keeping it real. There's always going to be people that disagree, but that's a part of anytime you're having like a group discussion. Not everyone is going to agree with you. If everybody agrees with you, what the hell are y'all meeting and talking about? You don't need to do that. So hopefully we will have some call-ins this evening. I tested it out. It seemed like it was fine. And also people chiming in with comments. All right, let me give you another perspective. Someone said, I'm totally disgusted by this. It reminds me of someone I used to work with. Beth is the one who doesn't deserve him. It's ghetto girls like her that needs to be cut. Home wreckers, I'm livid right now. So as you can see, situations like this run the gamut of emotions. And I'm gonna give you one more, and I'll come back to some throughout. Someone said, any improvement that Dion had is a blessing to him, but it has come with a price, as some successes do. The unfortunate portion is his involvement with someone who is scheduled to be married. Beth and his relationship may end, but who knows? If he was to continue on with her, I'll advise him to do so with cautiously. Faith Dillard, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So those are some of the perspectives that I have. Herbert said the call-in isn't working. Herb, man, something going on. I know it's working. I know it's working. I know it's working because are you dialing the right number? Are you pressing pound or something? Because I tried it before the thing. And in fact, I'm gonna try it on my phone. So bear with me, because you know that feature is important. And I know I tried it before and it was working. So bear with me, folks. But I just want to see. I think the big bad wolf is doing something wrong. Hate to cut in the show like that. It might sound a little fuzzy. Oh, I can't even hear because I got this headset on. You know what? I'm gonna say try again, but I know that earlier I made sure I tried, or somebody else could try. Because like I said, I think it brings another element to the conversation. But I definitely had tried because I wanted to make sure, because I know last week that was the issue, and I get tired of hearing myself talk, so I wanted to make sure that worked. But we're going to move on. Somebody else could try. I would appreciate it. All right. So here's some other things related to the situation. Let's see. So if what you're doing within your race is not working, Trevor, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So if what you're doing with your race is not working, are you ready to make that change? Because as the saying goes, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna keep getting what you're getting. So How do y'all feel about that? Like, you know, all your life you've been dating one race and it doesn't seem to be working out. Now, that might have very little to do with the color of the person. It may be more about you, things that you need to work on. But in this particular situation, a guy, and I didn't write the whole scenario down. He pretty much, you know, ever since in his 20s, he had been in 7 significant relationships, and not any of them worked. So he felt like he was going to start dating outside his race to see if that could bring about change. So what's your take on that? How do you feel about that? Herb said, as blacks, we have to address our culture. So Herb, did you try again to see if it worked? Because I know that when I tried earlier, right before the show, I was able to get through. And after last show, I called the people to make sure, and they said maybe it was a glitch or something, but everything is fine, that it should be working. So I'm not understanding. All right. So another perspective that came up is she is probably only dealing with Dion because of some mandingo fantasy she already had. So you hear that a lot, that, you know, sometimes on hold listening to music. I don't, Herb, try to come in because usually it beeps. Did you hit pound? You got to hit pound after you call in, and then it'll ask your name. I'm sure you know. So back to the original thought that, you know, you hear people say that sometimes white women only deal with black men because the fantasy, I guess, that, you know, all black men have huge penises that and they fantasize about that. You know, that all that stuff is just myths, whatever, because it can, you know, it doesn't matter anyways, to be honest. And I'm not going to make this a sex 101 topic, but do you ladies really think it matters size? Is how you work it, the chemistry, and all other factors. But they always make it seem like, you know, that white women get caught up in this mandingo approach. Herb said it only gives me the option to press pound. And that's what you need to do, press pound. And he said, yes, I did. So I don't know what's going on then. I don't know. This is frustrating. Lady Jazz, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. I really don't know what's going on. So that was one, the mandingo approach. So, and sometimes I think that we got to go with a different thought process, that maybe that guy actually likes her, or maybe she actually likes him. It's not about a mandingo approach. Granted, people have their fantasies. We all do. But is that the sole purpose, to be with someone? Richie Campbell, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. What's going on, Richie Ray? Deanna Polk, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner tonight. All right, here's another perspective that I wanted to talk. That love is love crap is nonsense. It's all about choices. I have a huge preference for black women, especially dark-skinned women, if need be. But if I were to date out, it's not because of that group of women are better. It's because I chose to. So now you have someone saying, shit, it's by choice. Like, you know, he doing what he wants to. He's not looking at any particular group is better. His preference is dark-skinned women, but if he chose to date outside, it wouldn't be that a certain group is better. It's just that was his choice. And everybody has choices. So I think a lot of times people dance around on reasons why they do things or who they date or whatever the case is. you got to be real. But the one thing I totally disagree when people say they don't see color, because you see color. You have no choice to see color. You know you see color. You know that sometimes you may be with someone, and it don't even matter. You could be the same. You could be the same color, but you know, if you're a guy and you're, I don't know, 5'6", and your woman has on heels and she's about 5'11", you get looks. People gonna look. People gonna comment. They're gonna mumble stuff under their breath. So you know that even in 2019, people still have something to say. Now it depends on you as an individual, whether you have the ability to block it out and say, shit, we together, we happy, screw these people with these looks, and you go about your business. So it's all about each individual. Herbert said, this is something that Black women need to understand. They talk about penis size and guess who is curious. Yeah. And this, when you talk about your blessings, others want it too. Yeah, everybody want to be blessed a little bit, or else you just go through kind of being mediocre. Sometimes you want the best in life, so you may consider certain things as blessings, whatever that may be. That's something you may be looking forward to. So here's another male perspective. If a white woman makes him happy, he feels like he is a better man with her. Who am I to speak ill about his happiness? Let them be great together. So in this perspective, the guy was saying, frankly, he don't give a damn. If they're happy together, let them be great together. There's no point of having ill feelings or being overly concerned, because that's them. And I always say this on every situation. When you're busy and you got your own life, it might be certain things that irritate you, but you're not consumed with it for so long. It's not, you go out and you see someone and you see a couple together, and you're not talking about that shit all night long, and the next day you're talking about it. You seen it, you spoke on it, then you move on. People who have stuff to do know how to move on and handle their business. I'm sorry for all the people that sit around gossiping and telling everything that happened on social media or what you seen out the night before. You won't have shit to do. You don't have nothing to do. Because if you did, you'll keep it moving. Ken Hamilton, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Virgil, thanks for joining me. And Carrie, thanks for joining me tonight. Herbert said, correct. This is the result of righteous African-American males going where they're treated well. So Herbert is saying some African-American males decide to say, or they feel like they're not getting the proper treatment from Black women, so they go elsewhere where the treatment is better. Now, people may argue or dispute that notion, but essentially, if you're not happy somewhere, you're going to go try to find greener pastures, right? I mean, that's just something you do, unless you just want to live a life in misery. So I don't tell nobody which way they should go, whether they chose a Caucasian woman, white woman, Black woman, because again, I don't give a damn. I had too much going on, too many things that I want to try to do. So it's just like water under a bridge for me, because I'm going to keep it moving. I got tons of shit to do. In fact, stuff that I say I'm going to get done and don't always get it done. So that lets you know I'm busy. I know how to consume myself. Herbert said, also, I will post a link to a video to that talks about this very topic in a candid manner. I wish you could call in, Herb, instead of typing. I know that's your thing to get your point in. I wish you would. I don't know what is going on with that, and that's very aggravating. Is anybody else willing to call in and give their feedback on this subject matter? 605-313-5375. Then you type in the access code 669542 and hit pound. Because when I tried calling in, when I tried to do it, it said announce yourself, said David, and then I was able to hear myself. So I don't know what's going on. Is any risk takers out there willing to call in? Because I know most people have something to say on this subject. Now, here's another point, and this is, you said you're on hold. I don't know why you would be on hold at all, because Herb, yeah, I don't know why you would be on hold. I'm thinking you didn't hit pound. But all right, I guess I can't worry about that. I'll try to figure it out after, but this is 2 weeks in a row. All right, so here's a reflection of a concerned man and what he had to say. And he said, this is logic from most women. This is logic. He said, Nisi Carter Ellis, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Felicia said, nothing is authentic in interracial relationships, but to each his own. I don't think there's benefits for the black partner, but everything for the other party, but again, to each his own. Did somebody come in? All right, go ahead. What's going on? Man, you did something wrong.
You know, two things I did wrong. One, I put the wrong accent. I thought it was 5-5. And when you said, I was like, that's what I did.
All right. Because I'm like, man.
I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why is it not working?
I'm like, you got me in stress mode because I like stuff to go through smoothly. And I'm like, what is he talking about? But Big Bad Wolf, go ahead, drop some science, man. But before you do that, What's going on, Big Pat, man? Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. I see you, man, making big power moves, Pat, man. Got to connect, man. But thanks for joining me tonight. But go ahead, Herb, do your thing.
All right. When I made the original comment about our culture, this is about a generational foundation set. But what a lot of people fail to realize is that when I was in high school, I saw this tide coming. Mm-hmm. And I was personally caught up in it myself. I remember specifically one time I started working. So my gear had changed. I started being able to buy the same things that the more affluent people started to buy. When I say the more affluent people, I'm not talking about the working class teenager. I'm talking about the working class teenager that was slinging. The only difference was I was earning my money legally. And that's what would catch the typical attractive black woman's eye. Mm-hmm. Was the person that was dressing well, wearing that gold, wearing that jewels, or driving that car. The only thing was I was working. I remember specifically, and this is a true-to-life event, a nice-looking female came up to me. She was like, yo, Herb, you selling? And I looked at her like, are you tripping me? Look, I said, no, I'm working. She's like, oh, and walked away. That right there told me that brothers who have their shit together, who are working, who aren't involved in the streets, are not going to be highly sought after. And here we are, about 20 or so years later, those brothers who are in those situations have actually moved beyond the women that they were once dedicated to other pastors, whether that's Hispanic, Dominican, Caucasian, or whatever other culture other than African-American females. Now, you will have African-American females who will talk about the number of unavailable black men, and the first statistic they cite is the jail population. So one would have to ask themselves, why in the world are you talking about a criminal element if you're looking for a righteous man? That should be the last thing that is spoken of. And that alone tells you the mindset of a lot of our women. They're trying to turn that criminal element male into a righteous man as opposed to going to seek the righteous man from the beginning. Why? Why on earth would any well-to-do or a person wanting a well-to-do person talk about a criminal person? That's not what you want, and that's why the single-parent population in our communities is skyrocketing. Not to mention the divorce rate, and most of the divorces in America, not to mention Black America, are initiated by the female. Why is that? And the link that I'm going to post talks specifically about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, ladies, it's a few of you on here. Please have some rebuttal or come back because, the issue is, like throughout the last few days, I posted about the stuff. You have a lot to say. And now it's an opportunity where we've came together, and you can have the option of calling in or either following a dialogue with typing something in. Now you're all closed mouth. So, it's out there. Let's talk. Now, Herb, I want you to stay put, but this is a reflection of some guy, and this is what he was saying about most women's logic. He said, they say, shut up, but then they say, but then talk to me. They say, tell me what to do, but don't make it seem like you're telling me what to do. I want you to leave me alone, but stay here. This is women in a relationship. I want a relationship for trips, help with shit I don't feel like doing, maybe some sex when I want it, and basic routine shit to spice up my day. Morning text, afternoon to see if you have eating, and a good night text. You want to be able to unload all the problems of your day, want no solid advice on how to fix things, just an empathetic ear. You want to come and go as you please and answer for nothing. And you aren't in the mood to be bothered. He is faithfully told to go sit in the corner until you're ready. You aren't obligated to his needs, but he needs to be obligated to yours. Wow. So, man. So what's y'all take on that?
I concur with that assessment.
You said you can concur with it?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And this is a dynamic that goes beyond this time right now. This precedent was set back when our ancestors were enslaved. And I'll ask this question to the audience and see who comes up with an answer, or the correct answer, because there is a correct answer. Whose happiness was paramount among the slaves?
Well,
it was the Black woman. Black men were, and much to today's culture, are looked at as menial laborers. This is why we're talking about as dumb, unintelligent. Our educational attainment isn't on par with everybody else, even our Black women. Black women as slaves were taught to read before we were. This is why the Black man was castrated, hung, and killed, and until today, hunted, and in a lot of respects, treated like a dog, even by some of our own women. We're looked at, just as the quote you read, as come here, do what I say. I don't want to hear you until I ask you something. And if I ask you something and you give me the wrong information according to what I feel, not what I want or need, what I feel, I'm going to tell you to shut up anyway. That's how we were treated in a lot of regards by our mothers. And I see this by single mothers in the way they treat their sons. They ride down on their sons as opposed to trying to instruct them. Women do not discipline from a standpoint to teach. They discipline, from a standpoint of fear. And we saw that in that protest where the one mother came out and she beat her son on public TV. You don't emasculate a man like that. She beat him. And she didn't beat him because he was trying to teach him lessons. She beat him out of fear of him getting killed by the police.
Oh, you're talking about the Freddie Gray thing here in Baltimore?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. Now, before we go to that, Felicia made a comment. She said, men don't know who they are. I found that as confirmation on my live last Thursday. Felicia, I don't know who you found it out about. Maybe your boy Savon, but I think from what I was reading, some of the guys, they had their statements of what they thought a man was. And of course, you were looking for, I don't know. I mean, of course, most people would say protectors, maintainers, and things of that nature. I kind of talked about adaptability, being able to adapt to different situations. So I don't know what golden answer you were looking for out of that. Was it like a riddle or something? But people gave you their perspective. So to piggyback on that, I guess a guy could say, what is a real woman? And how would you answer that? So maybe that should be your next series.
Well, let me address that statement. First things first. A male grows into manhood. There's no question about that. There's a biological process that makes that happen. It's called puberty. The difference is a respectable man. Black women don't want a respectable man because that means they have to follow. And if a black woman is unwilling to follow a black man and she rebuffs him, then she's going to be stuck with what she gets, which is more often a man that can't do anything, which is what you're referring to, or a man that she's not willing to follow, which is what the average black woman has. Black women in America have never had to follow their black men. It's been an option, and it's still an option to today. This is why the average rank and file black woman can't find a respectable black man, because that means she's got to shut her fucking mouth and fall in line. She's not willing to do that because that means she loses power. Period.
All right. Wow. Now that, I guess that teed you off.
Yes, it does. It does. It gets underneath my skin because you have men out here like me and you we are not the average. We are the above average, but we're not sought after. We're not sought after until black women have went out, sown their oats, had multiple children by at least one or two men, never been married, and then they claim they can't find a good black man. Well, where were you 20 years ago when these black men were freely floating around, going to school, working, and college, making something of themselves? You were out here dealing with doing Negroes. So absolutely, yeah, I'm keyed off about it because I get tired of hearing that shit.
Hey, I can't tell you what to be teed off about. You entitled to that, brother. Let me give a couple shout outs. Adrian, KM, thanks for joining. Ariana, thanks for joining me tonight. Roger, thanks for joining me. And Felicia said, no, not many men would comment and nobody wanted to be live. Hold on, I got something going on here. I hate when hold on.
I didn't call because I was in the midst of working 3 straight weeks, which goes back to what I was saying. I'm going to get my future. I'm laying the foundation for my future. So unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to call in to the show. Believe me, I'd have set the foundation for all of that. But this is the question. If 43% of the African-American men in the United States of America don't have children, they're out here doing their thing, why is it that black women can't find them? You are the company you keep. So if you keep in that type of company, you should have no problem with the average ranking. When I say you, I'm not speaking of you specifically, Felicia. I want to make that point clear. If you are hanging in circles with good men, are keeping good company, they're running their homes, they're doing the things that they're supposed to, not by their standards or black women's standards, but by American dominant culture standards, then why is it that so many black women are having a problem finding a man? Like you say, David, KYP.
Yeah.
Don't find a man that's dealing in those type of circles where good men are. The average black woman refuses to do that because that means she has to change her attitude. That has to change all the things that she does. That means she can't be wearing that synthetic hair. She can't be running around talking smoke, smoking weed, drinking Hennessy, talking about turning it up, getting lit, dressing like a tramp, out here twerking. No, she got to clean all that up, and she don't want to do that.
And yeah, and that's the thing. I always talk about a quality guy. A quality guy is going to look for different standards. But to go back on Felicia, she said that no man wanted to go live, so I disagree. I don't mind the women, but the topic was men at the time. Well, let me just share this with you, Felicia. You're not, barely seldom, you're going to get too many guys that come on live or be a part of these discussions. And that's just the nature of some guys. They just don't get into these discussion forums. Like Herbert, he does great with it, been following my platform for years now, and I'm fortunate to have him as one that, come on, but consistently, you're not going to have that. And being that your platform is new, you got to put in that work. You got to put in that work to get these brothers to respond. You're going to have to say something that really get them going. Unfortunately, my audience is women, so I know how to pick and prod and get them in these discussions. So she said, to what again a man is? Well, I gave my answer, came on live a couple times. All right. So did anybody else come in? All right, here's another comment. Adriana said Dion has a false sense of confidence in this relationship. Beth has agreed to marry another man and could see Dion's weakness is still choosing to be her boyfriend. Beth will keep Dion as a toy, so as long as he pleases her, it doesn't risk her engagement. Yeah, that was deep.
Well, to the scenario, this is, and that scenario covers the original scenario. It covers a lot of different schools of thought. And I've been told that by females, even when dealing with black women. I've been told by certain black women that she don't deserve you, that you're too good for her. So let's remove the ethnical component and let's just look at it from a purely philosophical standpoint. Do we as brothers tell each other about a female who isn't good for her, not just because of her track record, but because of how she treats him? We see it across the board, regardless of the color. We see brothers that are just like, yo, man, shorty's doing you dirty, man. She talking to this cat, or she doing this, and she speaks to you like this, but she'll speak to this person like this. It's like men, in a lot of regards, are treated as if they're childlike and that they don't know what they want. And I always say, you find a man that is working towards a purpose, whether that purpose is clearly defined to him or he's trying to figure out, as long as he's working in a manner that's moving him forward, allow him to work. You have people that want to dictate to men what they should be doing because that's what they feel they should be doing. Case in point, I had the people years ago when my brother was hustling telling me that I should have been hustling. And I was always a good punch the clock type of guy. And I said, no, that's not my walk. That's not what I want to do. Now, it turns out that my brother spent a significant portion of his life incarcerated. And the vast majority of people that were telling me that I should have been running with him or doing the things he do don't have what I have because I've always worked. Even when I've academically failed out of school, I've always worked forward. Transition to now, in about 3 or 4 years, I'm gonna start working on my pilot's license. I said this to you before, Dave. I'm gonna have my pistol permit, and my goal is to have my own security business. That's what I'm looking forward to. But that was 25 years ago in the making. See, a lot of people don't see what a man can become; they only see what he is. And Kim Hamilton nailed it with his post. Yeah, let me read that. Let me read that post because I had kind of went by it. Ken says 70% of all U.S. divorces are initiated by women, and it makes sense because men marry women and hope that they never change, but women marry a man hoping to change him into what she thinks that they should be. Hence the disappointment and divorce rate. Interesting. And it's an accurate statement. It's a very accurate statement. Yeah, and the thing is about changing somebody, of course, I mean, you can never go into something, or why go into it if you
thinking yourself, oh, I can't wait till this we tie the knot so I can change him or make a person such a certain way. Those changes should be made subtly by y'all growing together and building together, and sometimes change evolve. But if that's your mindset that you're going to change someone, then shit, you might as well be a petty. Look for a kid that you can influence and change their mind. Because again, a quality guy, you're going to have to package. There may not be any changes.
And the thing about that is, if he's always worked, he's got the bills paid, he keeps food in the house, he keeps a roof over your head, then why would you want to change that? It makes no sense. It's like trying to change a hammer into a screwdriver. A hammer is a hammer. It's designed for a certain thing. Men are designed to work and keep order. Not indulge in chaos, not go out there and do this, not go out there and be unproductive. You find a man that's unproductive, he, in my opinion, he's not operating in a masculine energy. He's operating from a standpoint of being lost. So when you find a man that is out there behaving in a frivolous manner, yes, he's a man in physical, but he's not a man in mental, and he's certainly not a man in spiritual, because a man in the mental and spiritual, you find him out there doing. Even if it's not at the rate that some women find acceptable to their standards, because they can't go and build with him. So yes, those men are out there. They do exist. And if you look for them, you'll find them. Conversely, if you also look for the man that's about his purpose, and you are able to rise to his standard of what's acceptable, you won't have a problem finding him.
Yeah, you're right. Those men are definitely out there, and some people, like sometimes I say, some guys travel the path of least resistance. That statement is true for women as well. Sometimes you want to travel that path of least resistance, where you're not going to get that much pushback from. And you may be looking for a yes man. But again, like I said, a quality guy with his own mind, it's going to be a lot of times he tell you no. There's going to be a lot of time, and I don't care what you do. You can be butt-ass naked, come through, darting through, doing whatever you want to do. And if his mind is made up and he has a stance on certain issues or something, that's what he's going to go with. And none of that stuff is going to work. But a weak-minded person, they'll fall victim for anything. So if that's what you want, then you got to go for it. You'll always have your man, for real. But is it really going to challenge you or make you the best that you can be? That's what you have to ask yourself.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, that's what I was saying. And let me give a shout out. Shout out to Reverend Charles Searcy for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner.
It's the old adage. No matter where you go, there you are. So if you're the type of individual, whether you're male or female, if you're the type of individual that is always looking for something that isn't productive, you'll find it. I don't care if you go to a major city or you go to a smaller city. If you look for people that are upwardly mobile, that are building businesses, that are making network connections, trying to increase their profit or their brand, you will find it. If you're looking for people that are hanging out, drinking Hennessy, smoking weed, you're going to find it. Why? Because that's what you know. So you're always going to stick what you know. And the hardest thing, the absolute hardest thing for any individual to do is to change their behavior, because that means you have to actively engage in changing your mindset. We find this all across the board. People struggle with trying to improve themselves because that means they actually have to undergo a physical change. This is why weight loss is hard for a lot of people, because they can't break those habits. Those habits have been established for years. When I took my pistol permit course, my instructor told me something, and it stuck with me ever since. He said, in order to develop a good habit, you must do something 1,000 times. So if you develop a bad habit, guess what that means you have to do? That means before you establish that good habit, you have to break that bad habit and then establish that good habit. So as opposed to doing something 1,000 times, you have to do it 2,000 times. And most of us don't have that discipline in us. This is why it's important at a younger age to establish good habits, choose good people, hang out with good people, and do well. Because once you set that foundation, it becomes easy to build. You look at all the people who have a bad track record of dating, littered by children with multiple people, and those are the people who struggle in our society. This is one of the reasons why depression has shot up among women. And people are always talking about mental health, and rightly they should, because mental health is the biggest component that governs our day-to-day well-being. But if you look in circles where people are doing the things that they're supposed to, depression never comes around them.
Yeah.
It never even knocks on the door. You know why? Because they don't have time to be depressed. They're too busy working. They're too busy being about their purpose. They're too busy being about what they need to get to the next level.
And I have to agree with that too, because there's not enough time in a day. So when you're sitting around with idle thoughts and you're thinking about how your life should be, or you're comparing it to someone you used to be around, but they cut your ass off because you stay stagnant and they're making power moves. Now you're getting all depressed. But with someone who's goal-oriented and has a lot on their mind, you only going to be, if you're in a little funk, that's only going to be temporary, because let me get my ass up and do something. Because you got to. Did somebody just come in? Did somebody just come in? Okay. Well,
sounds like it.
Yeah, I thought somebody did, but they they playing games, but that's okay. Let me read this one. This is
I'll start.
Oh, somebody's here? All right, let me go. And this was from a guy, and he wrote, it was titled Black King. He said, "My queen doesn't stand in my way to be passionate about Black issues." So it's a guy who's with a white woman, and you have women and people say you're not a king and your white woman is not a queen. Only a queen could be a Black woman. And when you have that mindset, I look at it as some of this shit is just like slang or fad. When people using the word king or queen, I already did a show on that before, so that doesn't move me. But here, this is what this guy said.
Sometimes it's hard, like when you take it on both ends, Sometimes when he goes to my mouth, I gotta kind of loosen my jaws a little bit. You know what that's like, man? Yeah.
What the hell is this? All right, so. He says, "My queen doesn't stand in my way to be passionate about Black issues. My queen doesn't change my experiences as a Black person in the past, present, or future. And no, my queen doesn't automatically make me less conscious, less engaged with my own Blackness. That's up to me." So this guy was saying, even though he's with a white woman, that has nothing to do with his passion or his concern for the Black cause. And if that's removed, then it's on him. It's not because of her. So what's your take on that, Herb, if you're still here?
So I couldn't really hear that.
I don't know. I mean, it was an interracial rape.
So I don't know who, somebody's clearly playing games, called in, and they got this stuff going on. So this is when you got the little hecklers.
I don't know.
Well, they say if you don't have these detectives, you're not doing well.
Yeah, so
I know that was like 8 years ago when it happened to me, but I still think about
this is funny.
I think about wanting to talk to my dad and be like, hey,
because clearly it's somebody who came online, hit the number and all that, and now they're doing all this background talking. But that just lets you know I'm about to take this to another level. Yeah, there's somebody. But go ahead, Herb.
You done made the big time. You got hecklers.
Yeah. Got hecklers over here.
Can I what?
Can you go to a quiet spot? I hear a lot of
Well, you know what? I apologize for the people tuning in. I don't know who called in and decided to have this.
Somebody's going to pre-record it, either a podcast or a dialogue between two people. So that's what that is.
Yeah.
I was trying to call this radio show earlier, but these fucking assholes won't let me on. So I just thought I'd call you to talk about problems, because I figured this is a show with other people.
Oh God. anyways, so let me go on. I'm just entertained. I'm amused, like some of the stuff that people pull to try to throw shade or whatever the case is, to have recordings and stuff like that going on. It's amazing, but hey, man, you're always gonna have them, and that means you're doing something right. Um, um, I don't even know what to say about that. But anyways, so back to the one thing with the guy, he was saying he's still a king, and that Caucasian woman, that's his queen. So no one that doesn't mean he's less black. That doesn't mean he's less down with the cause or anything because of that fact. So what's y'all take on that? Because again, like I said, some people say, well, you can't be a king if you got a Caucasian woman. You said pull the plug. Well, it's not one of those things. It's a conference call number. So somebody call in. If they call in and they have it, I don't have the way to kind of boot them out unless I hung up the phone and then Herb called back in and all that. But remember, we only got 3 minutes. So I guess with these interruptions, I can do that to get them off. And if Herb calls back in, and I'll go to like 10:15, but I'm really trying to stick to that hour time limit. I apologize for these jackasses who decided to call in. So that's what I'm probably going to do. Hang up on the call in feature, call back in, set it back up, and we'll go to like 10:15. If Herb, are you still there? Well, Herb probably got off. But I'm going to get off this because I'm tired of listening to this. Now, yeah, I could go ahead. Feel free to type in. I'm just trying to open back up that call-in feature. Well, I tell you, people would do anything to throw shade. It's desperate times in this day and age that people would be willing to try anything to kind of yeah. So I don't know. I'm just go eliminate this call-in feature right now, so you can just type in because but I'm gonna let the people who run this little conference call thing, let them know that I keep getting these weird random people. So I'm going to correct that. Because I tried doing it again, and what happened was I still heard these voices. So I don't know. Maybe they're heckling me because of the subject matter or whatever the case is. That's crazy. So just type, continue to type in, and we'll finish the dialogue. And I'll still go on to 10:15. If y'all want me to, I'll try again. The last thing I want to do is have like a ghetto production, and everything's been fine. So I don't, these last couple of weeks, I've been getting like a lot of random stuff, whatever. Man, maybe I didn't reach the level that I'm the new Malcolm X or something, or whatever the case is. You got pre-recording, and you got people talking about stuff. It's crazy to me. I'm going to try again because they ain't going to run me off of my program. So here we go. But y'all can type in stuff and we can still go on. And I'll go to 10:15 because I think we were having a good dialogue. And, of course, I don't know, sound like some freaks, Parisian freaks decided to interrupt that.
Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. Thank you. There is one host and one participant in this conference. Please announce yourself.
Gotta announce myself. I'm David.
and there's no background chatter.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to address the earlier comment about a black man marrying a Caucasian female or whomever else that's non-African American. I think a lot of people like to throw the title king and queen around frivolously, like you mentioned. And the average man that's working, particularly black man, he's not concerned about any other title other than father and or husband. Anything else in terms of royalty or court, he is not concerned about. And I think it's an underhanded shaming tactic that certain members of certain demographics, and I won't get into that because I'm not trying to alienate anyone, use to try and keep black men who are upwardly mobile, who can be pillars in restructuring and redirecting the future of the African American community from leaving, because those are resources and those are abilities that cannot be replicated. Because let's face it, the future that's coming up behind us, the vast majority are not capable of building and arresting the development or the lack of that is permeating through our community. That's why this talk of reparations now is reaching that head, because people see that there's a tipping point in the African American community. And if we don't arrest this situation that we are in, we as a viable culture and people are going to crash and burn. Those seeds have already been sown. They're growing now.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. And they're saying that this generation coming up after is probably going to be a generation that potentially will make less than what we made. And usually it's upward mobility that, the ultimate goal of a parent is for your child or your children to be in a better position that you are. And hopefully you're schooling them and putting things in place so that is the case. So I often laugh, not laugh, but when people are, getting, glorified and posting their kindergarten first report card and stuff like that. And I'm like, they got a long way to go. They just don't know how this academic thing plays out, even from high school, because the problem is it's not aligned. And I was just talking to one of my coworkers, like the public school and college is not aligned together. So you could be a straight A student all throughout high school, but don't make the cut in college. Ken said, what's the call-in number? Did somebody just come in? I'm going to type the number in, Ken. See, I keep getting...
Nice.
Your one-on-one conference has ended. You will now hear music until a match is found.
These
guys. They call back in.
Wow. So they're watching me. They're watching me when I go on, and that's their whole thing.
Dude, you call out of my dick hole.
Yeah, you got a heckler, man. Welcome to the prime time.
Yeah, thank you, whatever. Wow.
Your one-on-one conference has ended.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That they
that's funny, man. That's why I'm saying that.
Conference has ended. You will now hear music until a match is found.
God. Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is what happens, whatever. When you build a brand and you have folks that's following you and they're playing games with you, like that's so crazy to me. So Ken, I'm putting a number there, but I know that I don't even know what to say. I never expected this.
Your one-on-one conference has ended. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
There was somebody somebody that said hello. I don't know if she's an actual caller or she's part of the track.
Nah, that's somebody playing games. So this is the stuff that you get when you put out stuff and you make people feel uncomfortable.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. You got something to say?
Why do you
Hi, I'm not sure if I called the right line. Is this chronic masturbators? Or am I on the wrong line? I'm sorry. I don't know if I called the right line or not. Hello?
This is the Nutty Professor hotline.
That's your mama hotline. That's what it is.
Wow, man. Oh, man.
One of my moms is still alive.
1993. Can you come dial that back down a little bit?
That was the year I was born. I have two dads, by the way. I was a test you baby. Hey, manhole guy, what are you into?
Your one-on-one conference has ended.
Look what you guys did.
Say hello.
Yo, people, I'm gonna get ready to sign out. I'm gonna let these fellas do whatever they do, play with themselves or whatever the case is. I'm gonna get ready to sign out. I hate to end it abruptly, but I'm out. I'm gonna get out. I apologize for the ignorance, but that's what happens when you again, like I said, when you're trying to build your brand and you get to a point, certain people, you have people playing games. So I'm out, people. Thanks for everybody who called in, and I'll rectify this issue some other time to find another way that this could be resolved. And I appreciate you all. I'm out. Everybody have a good night. Peace.
To repeat, press 1 to continue.
Yeah, Kowalski. Area around my penis. Area around my